The Washington Commanders play the Atlanta Falcons in a game filled with playoff implications on Sunday Night Football here in Week 17. Welcome into the show. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be breaking down team trends between these two opponents. We're going to be talking about what these teams like to do schematically, what the Commanders need to do to collect a victory, and then I got my official score prediction at the end of this week's preview, so make sure you stick around to see who I think wins this matchup in Week 17. But before we get into it here, man, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you want to beat the Falcons under the lights at Northwest Stadium. It's going to be so much fun, man. We're going to be going live, by the way, on Sunday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for our watch party. So make sure you click that subscribe button as well to never miss any of our videos and any of our watch parties. Okay, let's get into this matchup here, man, because the Atlanta Falcons, currently first place in the NFC South, if you'll believe it, are coming into Northwest Stadium at Landover, Maryland here. Sunday Night Football, Michael Penix Jr. versus Jayden Daniels. And if the Commanders win this football game, guys, plain and simply, they make the playoffs. All right, so that win against the Eagles last week really set up the Commanders for success to potentially lock up a playoff spot this weekend. And that would obviously be very, very good for Commanders fans around the world. So hopefully these boys can deliver the dub. So let's go over some injuries here before we get into team trends, schematics, all these different things. Marshawn Lattimore, questionable to play at the time of me recording this video with a hamstring injury. This will go out probably later in the week. We're filming this on the live show on Tuesday. This will probably end up going out on Thursday, so maybe we get a different update on him. But the Jonathan Allen is technically questionable so far this week with a pec injury. Honestly, I don't expect Jonathan Allen to be on the field. If he gets back on the field, I think it's going to be more around Week 18 than this week. And then the Falcons also have some injuries of note here. Drake London is going to be questionable with a hamstring. I do think he's going to play on Sunday, though. Young-Ho Koo, their kicker, is out on IR with a hip injury. Troy Anderson, Rondale Moore, and Braylon Trice are all players that start for them that are on IR as well. So you take a look here at the Falcons and how their season has gone. They beat the Eagles in kind of a miraculous game in Week 2, and they've beaten some bad teams. They've beaten the Buccaneers twice, so that's really the big reason why they are at the top of the NFC South right now, is because they've had so much success against the Buccaneers. But honestly, against other teams, man, they have lost a lot. They've lost to the Saints this year. They've lost to a bunch of different teams. Honestly, kind of a tough schedule. Broncos, Chargers, Vikings was a tough stretch, but they've ended up winning their last two games against the Raiders and Giants, respectively, and they currently hold a record of 8-7. Take a look at what Raheem Morris, the new head coach there in Atlanta, likes to run schematically here. His offensive play caller, Zach Robinson, runs kind of a Sean McVay-style West Coast offense, and then Jimmy Lake, his defensive coordinator, runs kind of a bit of a hybrid. I mean, Raheem Morris has come from a different bunch of different schools. He's come from the Tampa 2 school. He's come from the Fangio school with the quarters and the cover 6. Like, he likes to run a bunch of different stuff, and he likes to really mix up looks to confuse opposing quarterbacks. So Jayden Daniels needs to be on his game. So the key offensive players on the offensive side of the ball for Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr. is going to be making his second ever NFL start, his first ever on primetime football. Bijan Robinson, big time running back, crazy change of direction, can make guys miss easily. He's also a really good receiving threat out of the backfield as well. Drake London, if he's on the field, a big time target in the red zone especially, can really make some tough targets. Also really crafty route runner, underrated route runners, Drake London. Darnell Mooney's had a good season this year as their number 2 receiver. Then Kyle Pitts, he kind of stinks. He's a big-time bust. I think we can all agree on that, but he's definitely talented enough where you have to keep tabs on him. Take a look here at the trends between the Falcons offense and the Commanders defense this season. Honestly, this is a really this is a very even matchup, because the Falcons offense has been one of the most mid offenses in the league this year, and the Commanders defense has been among the most mid defenses in the National Football League throughout the 2024 campaign. So honestly, it's kind of mid versus mid in a true mid-off here between the Falcons offense and the Commanders defense. But honestly, with Michael Penix Jr. in the lineup now instead of Kirk Cousins, you can kind of throw the trends out the window for the Atlanta Falcons on offense, because it is a completely different offense with Penix in there versus Kirk Cousins. Penix's arm strength is just a lot better than what Cousins was bringing to the table. So the points per game trends here, like I said, take it with a grain of salt here, guys, but the trends do predict 21 points for the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday night here when you cross-reference that with the Commanders' defensive points per game allowed. Then we get to the other side of the ball here with the key defensive players for Atlanta. A.J. Terrell is a lockdown number one corner. Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in football, ball hawk type of safety. Grady Jarrett's been a really good interior pass rusher for a number of years. Matthew Judon and Arnold Ebiketie are two pretty good edge rushers, and Justin Simmons is also another good safety in their secondary. Take a look here at the matchup from between these two units, and this one's a bit more lopsided. The Commanders' offense has been a lot more successful this year than the Falcons' defense. Honestly, I think that the Falcons don't specialize in anything, and I think that hurts them because they try to do a bunch of different things, and they don't run anything particularly well, all right, or at a high level, which really allows a high level of third down percentage, really a high level of red zone percentage for opponents. They don't turn the ball over all that much, and they give up a lot of points as well, whereas the Commanders are top 10 in every single major offensive category right now. You take a look at the points per game trends on this side of the ball. The Commanders are getting 28.8 points per game. The Falcons are giving up 23.3. Cross-reference those, and it would give you 26 points for the Commanders on Sunday. So if you've been keeping track of the trends here, that would tell you that it would be 26-21 Commanders win. The margin for error in these kind of trend analysis here is 3 points. So because it's outside of those 3 points, the Commanders are the clear favorite heading into Sunday based on the trends. So still to come here on the Commanders Report preview for Week 16. Keys to victory versus the Atlanta Falcons. Got my full scouting report on Michael Penix Jr. And I got my Week 17 score prediction for Commanders versus Falcons. You're not going to want to miss that, so make sure you stick around. But before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone this holiday season. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more than or less than on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Simply use code CLNS after you play your first $5 lineup to get that $50 bonus instantly. Join now because during the holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. You guys can see here, it's more than just football, guys. You're going to get basketball, baseball when it starts up again, hockey, UFC, even NASCAR, a bunch of different options on Prize Picks for you. We got a basketball projection here, taking the more on points for Nikola Jokic, 0.5 points. That's pretty much a free play right there. Then you take the more on Luka Doncic with points, rebounds, and assists, and I'm taking the less on points for Rudy Gobert. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. Got 4 keys to victory for Washington this week. The first one is to get after Michael Penix Jr. All right, and this is going to be a theme whenever you go up against Michael Penix because he is so good from the pocket, all right, and he's not good out of structure. You take a look here at what he did versus the New York Giants last week. Had some very impressive throws. He was pretty accurate, I guess, 18 of 27, 202 total yards passing. He had a pick and no touchdowns. So honestly, not the best stat line, but he did have some big boy throws that plain and simply, Kirk Cousins can only make in his dreams at this point with that noodle of an arm that he possesses at this point in his NFL career. Take a look here at Michael Penix Jr., my scouting report on him. He's got incredible arm strength that can drive it to all levels of the field. The deep ball accuracy is legit. He can put it on a dime to any receiver 20-plus yards down the field. The mental processing is really good, can really process shifting safety, shifting coverages. Post-snap processing is on point for him. And then the intangibles is something I really like in his game as well. The cons, playmaking, out of structure. The wonky mechanics do lead to some accuracy issues at times when he's throwing off his back foot, and then the injury concerns certainly limit his athletic upside in terms of running around, doing all these different things out of structure. That's the way you got to beat him, man. You got to get him off his spot. You can't allow him to get it off on his first read because he's going to hit him. All right, it's kind of similar to Jalen Hurts, where Jalen Hurts is very much a one-read to play-make type of quarterback, but Michael Penix Jr. is kind of like that, only, he's a better mental processor, and he's not going to be making plays outside of the pocket. So, Michael Penix Jr. certainly somebody that I think could be a B to B plus quarterback in this league, especially like with Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. You get him a nice play caller, you get him some nice weapons. He can be a nice starting quarterback in this league, but his lack of playmaking upside certainly limits his overall upside, in my opinion. But here in Atlanta, they can give him some protection, man. They got a really good offensive line. Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, Drew Dahlman is one of the most underrated centers in football. Chris Lindstrom might be the best offensive lineman, period, in our game today, and he doesn't get any credit because of the Penei Sewells of the world, the Trent Williamses of the world. Atlanta's not really ever been a dominant team, so nobody talks about Chris Lindstrom, but he's absolutely awesome. Then Caleb McGarry is also really, really good as a run blocker at right tackle, but that's the weak spot, guys. Caleb McGarry, in terms of being a pass protector, is not very good. All right, that is definitely his weakness. It always has been. He has shorter arms. So whoever the Commanders put on him throughout this game, that person needs to win to get to Michael Penix Jr., force him to make plays out of structure. And if the Commanders do that, it's not going to be a very fun day for Michael Penix. Then we get to my second key to victory here, which is to contain Bijan Robinson, because this is a game wrecker right here, guys. He can make guys miss. He can break long runs. We saw last week that Saquon Barkley had a really big run against this team, and it nearly cost the Commanders the game. Now, the Commanders' defensive front did a great job in the second half. I've never seen a defensive front this season shut down Saquon Barkley the way that this unit did in the second half of that game on Sunday last week. So they're going to have to come up with that kind of energy, that kind of fight, and they're going to have to contain Saquon Barkley if they want to dominate this football game the way they want to. Also, on the other side of the ball here, not only do you have to win the trenches on defense, you got to win the trenches on offense. The offensive line needs to hold up, and this has been an issue in the second half of the season. And, I do think that, improvements and upgrades are needed on this group in the offseason, but right now, this is the unit that you got. All right, you need Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosmi, Brandon Coleman. You need these guys to step up, protect Jayden Daniels, create run lanes for B-Rob, do all these things. It's been a major weak spot in the Commanders here in the second half of the season, and it needs to improve. Now, the final key to victory, stay hot, Jayden Daniels. Goodness gracious, 5 touchdowns last week. Was trailing for most of the game. The Eagles defense knew he had to throw the football a number of times, and he was still dealing, man. So I have no worries about Jayden Daniels heading into the week. The Atlanta defense is kind of discombobulated. They got a lot of good talent in there, but they're implementing a new kind of hybrid, versatile scheme. And they're playing a bunch of different coverages. They don't specialize in anything. So, there's coverage bust opportunities, all these different things. Jayden Daniels absolutely can cut open this Atlanta defense if he's careful. Now, the one player that he has to be careful for here is Jesse Bates, because he's roaming in the middle of that defense, and he is a ball hawk. Great instincts, great zone eyes. He's going to be able to really attack the middle of the field if Jayden decides to target that area. And honestly, man, there's been teams that just completely avoid the middle of the field because of this cat. If Jayden targets the middle, he needs to be aware of where Jesse Bates is. So my score prediction here, I'm going to go 38-28 Commanders win. All right, I'm going to go with Jayden Daniels and this offense to have one of their best games of the season against kind of this really, very talented but very undisciplined Atlanta Falcons defense this year. Now, I think Michael Penix Jr. actually does pretty well. I think Bijan Robinson has a decent game as well because, going up against that Phillies offensive front, or Philadelphia, not the Phillies, the Eagles offensive front, that opponents are 3-10 after playing the Eagles this year, man. So you're going to be tired. There's going to be a bit of fatigue in this game. It's going to be a factor, but I think that Jayden Daniels and the offense will do well enough here. And a little bit of a shootout, 38-28. I'm expecting a very entertaining football game, but I got the Commanders winning by multiple scores, 38-28. Washington. Now it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comment section. Predict the score of Washington versus Atlanta on Sunday Night Football this week down there in the comment section. I got 38-28 commies. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. I'm going to take, so we're actually going to be going live for this game, guys, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night. So if you want to join us, it's going to be me and Joey Peterson. We're going to be giving away a Commanders jersey. We're going to be having a lot of fun, man. And, of course, we got extensive post-game coverage after our coverage of the game as well. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We provide you guys the best damn Commanders coverage money can buy, 100% free, right here on the Commanders Report YouTube channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now to never miss any of our content.